This here is the XPeng G6 Long Range rear-wheel drive. It is one of the most amazing vehicles that you can currently buy because it charges at 450 kilowatts and it's loaded with technology. Now, this isn't the first time we tried this car here on the channel. In fact, a few weeks ago we tried the performance version of this car, but this one's got more range, so let's see if it's good for traveling. Now, if you want to define XPeng in a single sentence, it's like, it's Tesla, but better, in the sense that they basically copy everything Tesla do and then they add on top of it. So not only will we test the range and the charging, I'll also show you a bit of the tech on this car. So the XPeng mobile app is as advanced as, the Tesla ones or any of the other really good apps with a lot of functionality. I've got my key here, so I don't need an actual physical key. I can just use my mobile phone. I can also locate the car. I can do all the charging preparation and planning and heat up the car, all of those things, of course. But I can also actually move the car without being inside it. So look at it over there. I've got this here, which is sort of, I can hold this down and the car will back up, which is useful for getting out of a tight parking spot. I can also, if it detects an actual parking spot around it, use this automatic parking feature, which means basically that if there is a parking, I can hold the button down here and the car will park itself without me being in it. So let's do a highway test of the XPeng G6. Now we've got 80 kilowatt hours of LFP batteries, officially 525 kilometers of WLTP range. Look at this though. In order to figure out how much, what the efficiency of this car is, I sort of have to reset it. I've got to sort of step out of the car and reboot it. I guess that's the only way, because otherwise it'll tell me the last 100 kilometers and stuff. But if I've got to get it from the start of the trip, I have to restart the car. I guess I can reset this subtotal here. I can do that, like there, so we know how far we've gone. So nothing to it, but to do it, gotta go out on the highway. I've got the highway right around the corner here. Do 120 kilometers per hour until we're all the way through the battery. Let's go. It's a cold day. It's only 7 degrees Celsius, which is, I don't know, not a lot of Fahrenheit. And we are driving towards Barcelona at 120 kilometers an hour, and when we're halfway through the battery, I'll turn around and go back again. Now, it's cold, but it's not windy, it's sunny, there's no rain or anything like that so far. It might change later on. So we should have pretty good conditions. Additionally, I've preheated the battery before leaving my house. I had this in my garage overnight charging, and I've planned for leaving at 9 a.m. and I had the battery, through the app heat up so that it'll do optimal performance. I've also got a heat pump, which is pre-installed or comes standard with this car. So we've got all the good signs for having a great test today. So far on the first bit here, which is uphill, we are using 22.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is actually not that much. Usually in an SUV, on the first bit, I'm pretty close to 23, 25. So I'm optimistic about how far this will go. Car says I should turn around next exit and get back to the charger with only 7% of charging left. But I've still got 54% of the batteries. I haven't even gone through half the battery. And I think I can do better. So I'm going to ignore this for now. I'm going to continue. Hope I don't run out of battery before I get back. But I think the GPS is being slightly pessimistic. At least that's what I hope. It's also quite a lot darker now. It might rain. Hope it won't. Okay, I'm going to turn around here. I've got exactly 50% left on the battery, and according to the car, I won't get back, which I think sounds strange. I don't think I'll spend more energy going back than I've spent coming this way, but hey, who knows? Living on the edge. So the car was right, and I was wrong. I am not going to make it to that charger. The car said I wouldn't make it, and I am definitely not going to make it. I've got 20% left on the battery, and I can see now exactly how far I'm going to be able to go. Fortunately, there are plenty of fast chargers from Thunder, the operator that is working with me on these video. I think we've got 4 or 5 400 kilowatt chargers just on the route that I use to do this testing. So all I've done is I've rerouted to a previous charger, to one that's a bit earlier. It says I'm going to get there with 4%. Well, it's actually now saying 3%. So yeah, I think I'll do that instead of getting stranded. Being optimistic or pessimistic, I do prefer when a car is precise in the estimate about how far it can go, because that will allow me, if it's too optimistic, I won't get there, but if it's too pessimistic, I won't use all of the battery. So having it be precise and arriving with exactly the percentage of battery that it's initially estimating, to me, that's a very important point. You know, it's a little EV specific, but hey, those are the things that matter when you choose a car for traveling. We're done with the range test. We've driven at 120 kilometers now. I think that's the same as 75 miles per hour. And we've done 313 kilometers, but we still have 5% left on the battery, and we left with 99%, so we have to add another 6% on top of that. So the total range for this car at highway driving in the winter, I mean, it's only 7 degrees outside right now, is 333 kilometers, which is the same as 207 miles. It would be a lot more in summer, I'm absolutely sure. The efficiency of the car has been 23.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is the same as 383 watt hours per mile. So even though it's winter and all that, I think that there's still a bit of optimization that XPeng can do to their motors and batteries and what's not to improve a little bit upon that, so we can get a little bit more range out of 80 kilowatt hours of battery. Still, let's do the charging now. I typically charge 200 kilometers. According to the efficiency that we've obtained in the driving test, I think that's a reasonable way to measure how fast you actually can recharge, because it takes into account the efficiency of the car and the charging speed. This car can charge at 451 kilowatts. Now, the charge I've got here is only 400. I think there are no 450 plus kilowatt chargers in all of Spain, but let's try. We're in the south of Madrid, where we're in the city actually, and as you can see here, Thunder, my partner in crime with these charging tests, they've got plenty of chargers here. They're all 400 kilowatts, super reliable. You can pay any which way you like. So let's try. We need to charge 47.6 kilowatt hours in order to be ready to do another 200 kilometers. Let's plug in and see what the XPeng G6 can do. I've been charging for a minute and a half, and we're already charging at nearly 400 kilowatts. Right, so a minute and a half, 7 kilowatt hours, that's pretty impressive. We've now been charging for 4 minutes and we've already charged more than 100 kilometers. That's not bad. And we made it 8 minutes and 30 seconds to charge 200 kilometers. We're at 62%, we're still charging at nearly 300 kilowatts. That is quite an impressive charging speed. I mean, I've just been here less than 10 minutes and I'm ready to do another 200 kilometers. How much time do you need for a wee and a coffee? More than 10 minutes, I'm sure. Right, I'm gonna let it charge to 80% just to see how much time it takes from 10 to 80%. I plugged in with exactly 10%, so it should be interesting to see. Yet, in winter, 200 kilometers took just 8 minutes and 30 seconds for an SUV. If I did this, I don't know, in July, it'd be 5 or 6 minutes. Do we need any more speed, really? So I'm in the XPeng G6 Long Range rear-wheel drive, and I've got several different drive modes. I can quickly switch them here. I've got Eco, Comfort, Sport, Individual, or Launch mode. Now, I gotta say that even though I'm in Sport, the car is not as sporty as I would have liked. A few weeks ago, I tested the G6 Performance, and that is a car that is definitely sporty. You see, the difference is between the mapping of the accelerator pedal. This doesn't sound important, but I swear it is. If you are coming up, for example, to a roundabout, and you sort of slow down, and then you want to go, did you hear that clock? That was when my foot went down. Look. The amount of time it takes for this car to actually start accelerating from when I put my foot down is a couple of seconds. Incredibly slow. Nothing happens. I have to put my foot down, take a deep breath, and then we're off. What's up with that, XPeng? Hello? Why are you doing that? This is an electric car. You should put your foot down and immediately electrons should flow through the motor and it should just launch itself. That's why I've got 300 horsepower available to me. I do not want to sit and wait for it. However, that is what you get in this car. If you're in the Performance, Funnily enough, this doesn't happen. You put your foot down and the car goes. Right, that is the only thing I sort of can complain about. Oh, look at this. I'm above the speed limit and it starts beeping at me, which is thoroughly annoying. But it also puts a thing up on screen saying, how about I just get rid of this beeping sound when you go too fast? And I said, yeah, brilliant, do that. Now, I know that by law in Europe, XPeng has to put this beeping sound on all the time. There's no way around it. But I do appreciate the fact they've just put a button on there saying, oh, if you don't want it to beep, we can just get rid of it. That's good. Now, other things we have here in the driving, where's the driving? I'm sorry, it's in Spanish right now. If I'm in driving modes, I can also select how firm the steering wheel should be, the brake pedal feeling, or the regen. I've got the low regen, medium, high, or X pedal. Now, X pedal means that it'll come to a full stop. So if I'm accelerating and I take my foot off the accelerator, it's going to slow down and it's going to come to a full stop. Come on, XPeng, don't make me a liar. Sometimes it is more determined than others in coming to a full stop, I gotta admit. So yeah, it is a one pedal driving, as it should be, good for city driving. Now we've got all these intelligent driving modes where it'll do lane keep and all that, but what it does really well as well is the auto parking. Let me show you. So if I'm just looking for a parking space here, driving around below 25 kilometers now, I can push this button and it's gonna, by the way, I've got all this infotainment that I can customize, and I can put this over there and I can do this and I can put Spotify. Yeah, it's got all that and it does it really well. Now if I'm doing this, it's now looking for parking spaces. It finds parking spaces quite well if there are cars parked around it. If there are no cars parked around it, it's a little bit more random. Still does it, just not 100% reliable all the time. It sometimes finds places that aren't there. Now, let's see if it'll find a place to park in front of this car here. This should come up there. Come on, come on. Found one there, and now there should be one right there. Come on. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's not always 100% reliable. Let's see. What about between these two cars here? That should be a parking space. It finds over there on the left-hand side, which isn't really there. I swear I did this test just a minute ago, same place, and I found it. So let's keep driving. I've got a couple of cars parked down here. Should be able to park between those as well. Maybe it's the sun glaring into the cameras. Maybe it's the alignment of Jupiter. Who knows? So it found that one there. What about there? Will it find one in front of that car? Found one over there. All right, it found that one. Okay. So it found a parking space there. And I'm going to park there, but I'm not actually going to be in the car. So come with me. So all I've done is I've selected the space. I'm going to open the door. So it's put the car in park. And now I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take my XPeng app and I'm going to use the remote parking function. So I'm just going to wait for it to connect with the car. It doesn't take too long. Sorry about the lighting here. Should be quite fast. Come on, come on. Car's right there. Right, so the car is now ready. So all I have to do is hold down this button here, and sorry about the flickering on my phone, and it's going to park itself in the space it found before. Look at that. I'm not doing anything. I'm not telling it to go forward, backward. I'm just holding down the button. It's just a dead man switch. Isn't that a kill switch, I guess you call it. So there you go. Come on. See, I don't have to select forward or backward. It does it all by itself. Please don't hit the other car. It didn't. Right, it's positioning itself. And we're done. Perfect. You heard the brakes go on there. That has parked itself quite well. Now, if I also wanted to move it, I also have the feature where I can just connect to the car from this. I need to be quite close to it, but it's good for when you've parked, for example, in a tight spot and you can't get it into the driver's seat door. So you just hold down this and it can move it forward to backward like it's a, good old-fashioned remote control car. Brilliant. And it works really well. In fact, the application for XPeng is one of the best there is. It works as a key. I don't need the physical key around. I just use this, Bluetooth to the car. I can preheat, program charging, do all of that stuff, and I can do it really well. So the XPeng is sort of like tech like a Tesla, but a little bit more luxurious. Look at the interior of this car. I mean, aside from the fact that everything is grey, the quality of the materials and everything is just top-notch, first class, absolutely brilliant. The only thing I might complain about in here is the steering wheel. It looks like something out of a Saab. It's a bit bulky and not so refined. Other than that, you got super nice wood materials here, but they're sort of painted in dark grey. You got 2 phone chargers, wireless with ventilation. You got a very good IT system here, or a very good infotainment system. And if you don't like that, you can just hit a button there and you go straight to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Fantastic, works really well. Back here on this, you can now have, in this case, I got like this big view of the driver's assistance features, but I don't want that. I actually prefer to have the map over there, and I want the map to be a little bit bigger. Very, very flexible. I can also change the icons I've got down there. I've got all sorts of apps. I've got Spotify. I've even got macros. You've got to be really geeky to know what a macro is and how you can use it in a car. More geeky than me, maybe. Now, the map works well, and it's good for planning routes. So, for example, hey XPeng,
Hi.
Take me to Barcelona.
Okay. Which one do you want to go?
The first one.
I found 3 routes for you. Please choose one.
Okay, just the first one.
The first route has been selected for you and will be navigated for you soon.
Fantastic. That works really well. However, if I do the route planning with voice, it doesn't find charging stops on the route. If I did it manually, however, it's going to plan a route. Yes, that's the one. Go there. So it's going to plan a route, and it's going to actually find a charging stops on the way for me. Brilliant. It does it really well. Finds the right ones, the fast ones. It calculates everything very well. It's just funny that when you use your voice to select a destination, it doesn't do it. I'm currently using the ADAS system, where it'll keep me in my lane and it'll keep the speed and the distance to the car in front of it. One thing I do appreciate about this is that it is very good at detecting driver attention. So if I'm just slightly looking too much here, now I am actually looking at the road, but the camera will think I'll be looking at the screen here. It starts beeping at me very, very quickly. You can hear this bing, bing. That's because it's detected with the camera it's got over here in the corner that I'm not paying attention. Usually, these beeps and warnings are quite annoying, but this one does it really well. And actually beeps at me when I should be paying attention. Rear view mirror is a screen and a camera. Much better than just a regular rear view mirror, especially if you got a small window in the back and you got people sitting there in the back who are, blocking the view. This camera works great at night, works great during the daytime. It's just all around fantastic. So this is a high-tech interior, and it's sort of like a Tesla Model Y, where they've improved upon a few things here and there. Autopilot on this system, which is of course called the X-Pilot, is actually pretty much the same as what you get with autopilot for Tesla in Europe. So it'll keep in my lane, it'll keep the distance, it'll keep the speed, and it works really well. With the previous version, I complained a bit when we were going around a slight curve or when there was a bit of a bend in the road. It would lower the speed significantly. However, this has now been solved. Now it's keeping me at 100, well, I've set it to 123 because I've checked with my GPS system. That's an actual 120 kilometers an hour. And it just works. It's very good at detecting my hands on the steering wheel. It actually uses this camera I've got over here as well to detect eyes on the road. It all works really good. And as you can see, with the indicators, I can ask it to change lanes for me, and it just does it. This does everything a Tesla does in Europe as well. Now, you might say Tesla does full self-driving. Yes, in the US and a few other locations, but not here in Europe. It does this. That's it. The XPeng X-Pilot system will also do full self-driving and drive itself completely autonomously, but it only works in China right now. So, yeah, I can't really test it, and I have to score the car according to current abilities here in Europe right now. The car also parks itself. You can remote control it with your phone and a lot of other stuff. See if we'll have the time maybe to test that out later.
The XPeng G6 Long Range with rear-wheel drive is in many ways very similar to the model we tested 2 years ago, but it has improved in a couple of important areas. Since we already carried out a very thorough electro exam on that version back then, this time I'm going to focus mainly on the differences and improvements we've seen in the 2026 model. When it comes to range and efficiency, there are practically no changes. We carried out this test in very cold conditions, so consumption was slightly higher, but even so, it keeps its 7 points. Charging remains outstanding. In fact, we already gave the previous version 10 points, and if we could, this one would get 11. It charged much faster, delivering more kilowatt hours in less time. Right now, there is no better car on the market for long-distance travel, a clear 10 points. For driving, we give it 8 points. The only real area for improvement would be how the accelerator pedal is calibrated. Interior quality and space receive 8 points, thanks to excellent materials and a very generous top-of-the-line feeling in terms of room and comfort. Exterior design gets 7 points. It's perfectly fine and well executed, but it's not the most exciting design on the market. Technology scores 8.5 points, with features like large screens, massaging seats, and a very complete digital ecosystem. Driver assistance systems have improved slightly and now reach 8 points. The price is also a bit more competitive than before, so it goes from 5 to 6 points. Overall, the XPeng G6 Long Range with rear-wheel drive achieves a total score of 76 points in the electro exam. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you found it useful. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think about the XPeng G6 Long Range.